Hey guys, welcome to My Sew Bliss. Today I'm super excited to bring you another tutorial. Today I'm going to be doing something a little different. It's not sewing related and you don't even need a sewing machine. All you're going to need is a few skeins of yarn and your hands and some scissors, and that's it. So we're going to be learning how to make this beautiful blanket. I have another video on how to do the straight stitch kind of one. It's kind of like a hand crocheting. This one, like I said, is the straight stitch in this beautiful ombre and then gray and white mismatch, kind of checkered looking. That's really fun. So that one's the straight. I'll put a link down below for that video that I also created. This video is going to show you how to do this cross stitch looking one. I don't even know, but I love it. It's so beautiful. I just love how it turned out. It took a little bit of a learning curve for me because I don't do cross stitch, I don't crochet, I don't any of that stuff. I mostly just sew, but I saw this and I just thought it would be a fun thing to learn and try. And so over the holiday break, I sat down and learned it and figured it out and made this gorgeous blanket, and I thought I would show you guys how I made it and how simple it is. So the things that you're going to need are, like I said, you're going to need some skeins. I think I'm saying that right, of yarn. I'm sorry for those in the yarn community if I'm saying that wrong. I got these ones. This is like a smaller version, and then this giant one is like the jumbo version. These are from Hobby Lobby. The ones that I used for this blanket, I got at Joann's, just a gray and a cream. And they have a ton of different colors, so I'll link down below which ones I did, where I got them from, and the links where you can buy them online and such. I would suggest waiting for a sale. That's when you get the best bang for your buck, of course. And for this I used, I believe, let me see. Yeah, I believe I did like 2 on this one, maybe 3, and then 2 in the middle, and then 2 or 3 on the end. I'll have to check on that, and if I said that wrong, I'll change it in the comment section down below. But it also is going to depend on how big you're going to want it. So mine, I just wanted it for me, my size. My husband wants this straight edge one a little bit bigger for him, more coverage, and so he needed a little bit more of the yarn. Again, it just depends on what you're making and how big you want it. One thing that's nice is they usually tell you on this type of yarn how much you're going to need and what sizes there are. So this yarn has little loops in it, and that's what makes it so we can do this by hand. You don't need any other tools, and it just makes it fun and fast and easy. Well, sometimes it's fast, sometimes it takes a little bit of time and a little practice, but then you get faster and faster. I just sat in front of the show TV over the holiday break, like I said, and just busted this out, and it was really nice to do while I watch TV or watch my kids play or something. So let's get started. For our first step, you're going to count off your loops, and I made mine about 66 loops long or wide. So I would count 66 if you want to make a blanket that's a good like lap size blanket. And I also cut a few of the loops. I'll cut one more and show you how I did that, but I just took it and snipped right in the middle, and that just makes it so we can tie it in to the blanket once we've done a few rows. So you don't do it now, you wait until later. It won't fall apart, don't worry about that. And I like to keep it organized, so I like these loops sitting up if you can. Obviously, if you're sitting on the couch or something, it's not going to be as organized, but just for showing you guys in this purpose, it's going to help us a lot to do it this way. I'm also just going to show you, I'm going to count 20 loops and do it that way instead of having this huge long piece. But just know for a blanket, I suggest around 66 loops, and you can customize that for what you want to do as well. So I'll just count to 20 and we'll go on to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so this white one right here is going to be number 20 on my loops. So I have my main row right here, and then I'm going to have, this is like my working yarn, and I'm going to take it and flip it behind. So when you do the crossing, what you're going to do is you're going to take your last two, so this is number 20 and number 19, and I'm going to cross number 20 in front of number 19, and then the working yarn, so the yarn that's going to be from behind, so this is number 21, is going to go through from behind number 19. And then this, the next one in line, so that would be 22, loop 22, is going to go through from behind loop 20. And the first like 2 or 3 rows are a little tricky and a little confusing, but don't let that get you down. Keep trying. I promise it'll work out. Okay, so then I'm just going to leave those, and I'm going to go to my next loops on my bottom row, and I'm going to cross. So this would be, that was 19 and 20 that we just did. This is going to be 18 and 17. So number 18, I'm going to cross in front of number 17. And then I'll do my next loops, which would be 23. It's going to go through from the back. And 24 is going to go through from the back of, what was that? What did I say? 17. 18 and 17. Okay, so there's 4 that are done right here. You can't tell really right now. It's a little crossed, but it looks kind of funky, but that's okay. We're just going to leave it. And then we'll go to the next 2. Cross in the front, and then take the next ones from our working yarn and go through the back. So you're just crossing the front 2, and the back ones are just going in order. So then I'm going to do the same thing all the way down. So once you get down to your last one on your very first row, so that one's been crossed and is finished, I'm then going to go up to my next row. And this is where it kind of gets a little confusing, but as you get going, you'll see the pattern and you'll figure out exactly how to do it. So you can see how this is crossing this way. So we want to do the opposite and cross this way now so that it creates that crisscross pattern for us. So I'm actually going to skip this one in our next row. So every other row you're going to do this to create that offset and keep it going. So like I said, skip the first one. Here's my working yarn coming back and behind. Skip the first one, and then my next 2, when they're crossing, you always cross this first one over the front. Okay, and you're always working. So I started working left to right, and then I didn't move it at all, and I went from, so I counted them left to right, and then started over here on my right side, and then I went from right to left. I never moved it, never flipped it, so don't do that. I think that's something you do in crochet. So if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but this is how you're going to do this project. So you always keep it exactly how it is, or it's gonna kind of flip the pattern to go on the back side as well as the front side, and then it's just gonna, it looks a little more wonky. So, and then I'm crossing those two. I've skipped my first one, crossing my next two, and my working yarn from the back. I'm taking that next one in the row, not this one we skipped, I'm leaving that behind, we'll come back to it later, and pulling that one through, and then pulling that one through. And these ones always get pulled from behind. So again, next set of two, I'm going to cross in front, take my next loops from the working yarn, pull it through, and then pull the next one through. And one thing that's nice about this is, and I was worried about in the beginning of doing this, I was worried it would come unraveled really easily, but it doesn't at all, probably just because of how thick the yarn is, and it just kind of holds together. So that's not something to worry about. I was worried like my kids would just like touch it and it would unravel the whole thing, but it didn't. I moved it and put it to the side a bunch of times, and I never had any issues. The only thing is just making sure you're working from the right side of your piece and not flipping it over and doing the other side, because then it just, again, like I said, it looks wonky. So I'll go to my next loop and do one in front, cross it, one in front of the other, and then loop through from behind my next set. And I'll do that all the way down. So I'll do this a couple times to show you guys how it starts looking and show you that weird random loop that we left there, what that's going to do and what the purpose of that is. So once you're done with that row, you'll notice when you come to the end, there's an extra loop. It doesn't have a matching set because we skipped that one on this left side. So I'm just going to take it and pull the next loop from our working yarn and just pull it through just that one. So there's no crossing involved on that very last one. And that finishes off that row. So, like I said at the beginning of this row, how we skipped one, this one we're not going to skip it because it's going to be every other row that we do that. And you can kind of start to see this cross is going this way and this is going this way. So now I want to offset it, and instead of going this way again, we want to go this way. So I would take these two loops, my next loops, cross them, take my working yarn and do the next one in the row, pull it through, next one in the row, and pull it through. And that creates this diagonal going this way. And then just continue on down that row. So once I get down to the end of this row, there's actually not an extra one because we didn't skip one at the beginning. We have these two. This one's a little lower, that's okay. I'm going to cross it and pull my loops through, and that ties in that one that we left on the bottom from before. So now we're ready to go on to the next row again. And this, since we didn't leave one on this end, we're going to leave one on this end to do our offsetting. So I'll leave this last loop there and then cross the next two and pull through the back and pull through the back, just like so. and then I just continue across. Now, if you ever miss one and you don't notice for a while that you've missed one of the loops, I mean, you can always just cut that loop and then tie it in, or even just tuck it in so that it's not even noticeable. Tying it in just makes it more secure and keeps it there. It makes it a little bit trickier on the next row and can kind of throw off your stitches of that cross look. So just pay attention to that and make sure you're always keeping them in line with the direction that they're supposed to be going. Because if not, it throws off the whole pattern. And I actually had that happen when I first started on my blanket. I had a few issues. So don't do it how I did. So see how that just creates this beautiful cross stitch look, or cross hatch look. I guess it's not cross stitching, that's something else, but cross yarn look. And on this end, we're gonna have one little leftover guy, one little loop, and that's okay. We'll just pull one through without crossing, and there we go. So, and then once you're ready to finish off the top, say I'm done with mine and I'm ready to finish off the loops, I wouldn't continue using my working yarn. I would actually just take these. So if I'm working from right to left, I'm going to take my next two ones, pull this one through, and loop it back. So now I have just that one. I'm going to pull the next one through and let go of that, loop it back. So then it creates this finished look on top. Kind of like a braided look. And it just looks really nice and finishes off your blanket or scarf or whatever you're making. So that's what it looks like from the top view, side view. Just pulling it through, dropping that one, and then going to the next one. Pull it through, drop, go through. I'll just do that all the way across, and then at the very end I can just cut that loop and tie it in, or just tuck it in. I like to tie it in, it feels more secure to me. I don't have to worry about my kids unraveling anything. Okay, there's one more. And then yeah, I would cut that and tie it just to this last loop probably, so that it doesn't come unraveled, but it just finishes that look. It looks so nice. I love it. So this is such a fun project. I hope that made sense, and I hope yours turns out so cute. So that is how you're going to create that cross stitch, cross hatching look of a blanket, all done by hand. Super quick and easy. Especially once you get past those first two rows and just get the hang of it, you can just whip it out. It does take a little bit more time, this cross one, than I feel like the straight one does, and a little more focus, but I love how it looks. One thing I wanted to show you, when I first started this blanket, I forgot to do that skip stitch and do like every other row kind of thing, and this is what it looks like when you do that. So if you can kind of tell, it kind of just looks like a zigzag going through, and then you can see how it transitioned, and I figured out, oh, that's wrong. So then I finally started doing it the right way and doing it every other. And I just left it. I didn't want to take it out. It was kind of a reminder, like, okay, I did it a little wrong in the beginning, but that's okay. It worked out okay. And you can kind of see my little tail tied there at the end. I could just tuck that in and it would be fine, just like that. So if you ever have any of those, I just tie them together, tie those ends together, especially if you're going from one yarn to the next, tie them together and then work it in. And it works out really well. And it's such a fun project, so cozy and comfy. This yarn feels so soft. So I'll leave links below for the yarn that I used and that you can buy online. If not, just check out local craft stores. They probably will have it in stock, or at least online. I know they do as well, but wait for a sale. That's my number one tip. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any comments, you can leave them down below in the comment section and I'll try to get back to them. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!